Sometimes it feels like the sun will never rise, like the birds will never sing again. Believe in a power greater than what you are going through. When you don't know what to do, keep breathing.
That's right. When you don't know what to do, just keep on breathing. From the City of Angels in Los Angeles, welcome to all my listeners out there in Radio Land. I'm Dave, the Caregiver's Caregiver, at caregiverdave.com, along with my lovely co-host, best-selling author and former mayor of Grover Beach, California, Debbie Peterson. And also coming to you live and on demand 24/7 on numerous syndicated radio and podcast networks, on 30 global audio and video platforms, including iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Vimeo, Stitcher, Spotify, and the list goes on and on. And we are proud to be voted #1 caregiver podcast on FeedSpot out of thousands, and #1 caregiver podcast at the top 50 on Player FM. We have an especially exciting show planned for you today. Barb Stone earned her MBA from Syracuse University, spent 25 years as a senior leader in manufacturing. While she achieved corporate success, she yearned for deeper fulfillment, led her to study her residency in psychology. Today, Barb is a certified leadership development coach, empowering individuals and organizations to create meaningful change. Passionate about community, she's also active in nonprofit local mission. And she lives in upstate New York, where she devotes time to her beloved Great Danes and other big-hearted animals. But before we get started, I want to take this moment and thank my last week's guest, Diane Alvira, Power of Connection. And just a reminder, you can watch or listen to that interview and all our interviews on our membership website, caregiverdave.com. or any of our other 30 global audio video networks that I've been. Okay, enough of that. Barb, so great to have you on the Caregiver Dave Show.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure is ours. And I always like to ask my guests, just who is Barbara Stone and why was she placed on this earth?
You know what? I think that they were all placed on this earth to make a difference and make an impact in the people around us. You know what? Dave, I'm not anyone special. I just really believe in the passion of being able to put some good work out there. People go, oh my gosh, you're a TEDx speaker.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, you're an author. And I'm going, you could do it too.
That's right.
It's just about setting the mindset, and it's like it doesn't make me any more special than anybody else, because we've all been through different things in life. Yes, I had a career as a 25-year senior leader in manufacturing, but I'm also a widow. I also have alopecia. I have been through struggles in my life. In my TEDx talk, I talk about everything that's wrong with me, but I don't see that. I don't want to see it. All I want to see is moving things forward. What other possibilities are out there? So if you want to ask me about who is Barb Stone, I think I just want to say she's a creative being that really wants to share life and loves to live, to be able to see different things through all the challenges.
And your glass obviously is half full instead of half empty.
Yeah. Although sometimes I think it's overfilling lately.
Debbie, did you get what I texted you, Debbie?
I did, yes. Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Why don't you ask Barb the first question?
Sure. Well, I wanted to mention something. I did get another text from last week's guest who said that, and I haven't had a chance to look it up, but she said that people who live in 55 plus active communities live longer. So I don't know if you have any experience about that as our guest, but is that something you've come across?
Let me put it to you this way. So my husband now, he is going to be 82 years old tomorrow. No, on Thursday. And he says to me, well, I keep working because she's in career mode. And I'm going, no, I'm in creation mode. I think that you are a choice. Retirement is a choice. How do you want to look at it? What do you want to do? I'm far from done. He's far from done. When he was in his 70s, he's a pharmacist and a diabetic educator. And he created a cream for diabetics for their lower extremities to be able to help them, because he was seeing these people that had an issue. And so he created a cream. And I think that it's a choice. It's a choice for you to decide, do you really want to retire, or what else is there that you can create? I mean, when I left my corporate job, I said, okay, I want to try this coaching thing. But then all of a sudden, then it was like, well, let's try this. Let's try this other certification. And let's try a TEDx talk. And then let's try a book. And, so I think it's like, it's a choice for what you want to do when you're 55 and over. You can take a look at just staying home, playing, and nothing wrong with playing pickleball. And I'm not poo-pooing it, but what if you were to just kind of get out there and see what else is there that you can do? I've had a lot of role models in my life. There's a woman by the name of Chucky Holstein. She was somebody that I had when I went through leadership grade or Syracuse. She's really taught me about how to live in community. She's just turned 98 at the end of last year. But up until she was 95, she was getting people in the community together to make change. So I believe you can do anything. It doesn't matter what your age is.
That's true. Community is the key word there, because a lot of these 55 places to live, it is a community. I know I had my mother in one, I had my aunt in one, and I said, wow, this is really nice. I wouldn't mind living here, but
So that kind of leads into into a question about what do you see as the difference between being a victim, maybe a victim of your age or whatever, having life happen for you, and then having life happen through you? I know that is something you can answer.
Yes, absolutely. So, I love working on that. I love teaching that, because so many times life happens to us. And when it happens to us and we go, oh my gosh, I can't do anything, I'm really paralyzed, I have become a victim of it. And because it has happened to me. Instead, what if we were to take a look at the possibility, take a look at a different perspective of that, and saying it didn't happen to you, but it happened for you.
Yeah.
So what is it that you can create out of it? When I became a widow in my 30s, and I'm going like, I felt like the rug was pulled out from underneath me. And I'm going, what am I going to do? I everything that I had known, but it was a chance for me to make changes and being able to see different possibilities. And I'm ever so grateful for God and the universe that brought Frank into my life. And we've been able to experience things. So that's happening for me. And then through me is a little bit about the wisdom that you learn as you're going through these different circumstances. And part of the wisdom is what I've tried to take in the stories through the Great Dane, so much to drool about, Lessons for Living Large, because I wanted to share the wisdom that we can learn in stories that happen to all of us from there.
Yeah, and this is, it's so prevalent today, victimhood. You have a political party who just tries to make everybody a victim, and I guess that keeps them in power. But no one's going to be happy being a victim, no matter how much free stuff they get. But you bring up another good point that I want to ask about, is that when someone becomes a widow or a widower, especially younger in life, that's a tough a tough grief process. How did you get through that grief process? How long did it take? And how long before you were open to dating again, and have another man in your life?
Yeah. Oh, Dave, it was, it's kind of funny. I just brought that up because there were like certain things in my life that, when I'll never forget, somebody said, "You're a widow now."
Yeah.
And I was like, me? What does that really mean? And I was taken back by the comments, and I'm going like, yeah, I had to sit in what a widow is, and I had to sit in, okay, I can grieve. The life that we had planned is not going to happen. Yeah, he was like 15 years older than me also, and it was like we had plans to go in on the motorboat, go up to through the Great Lakes and stuff like that, and that dream was gone. And so there were a lot of dreams, and he died unexpectedly. And
How old was he?
he was 52.
What took him?
Suicide.
Oh, so sad.
Suicide. So I share that, and I share it openly.
He had a problem with depression, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was it was hard. It was hard for me to understand why.
Yeah.
One of the things I will tell you that I knew at that time was that I had no regrets about anything that I ever said or did. And so that gave me all the more to be in the present moment and really experiencing that. But it was, you asked about dating, and I'm going like, oh, I remember my mother-in-law calling me up, and she says, well, you're so young, Barb. You're just such a beautiful girl. I want to give you permission to date. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I can't even think about that. And I think that, people are always wanting to fix you up, and I'm going, no, I'm not ready. But it was well over a year. And I remember how I felt for the first time that I saw somebody that I might have some feelings for. And I felt guilty because I never would look at another man. I was just, in love with my husband. He called me the light of his life and the dove of his heart and his bride all the time. And that's what I cherished. And so it was like I felt guilty about looking at somebody else. But what's that?
How long were you together?
We were together for 9 years. We started dating and in my late 20s, and so we were married for like 7 years. And but it was like one of the things that I could have been that victim, but it happened for me because it gave me the opportunity I had already finished my MBA, and it gave me the opportunity to go and explore some other jobs that if I were still married, I know I could not have. And then I traveled to Germany, moved to Michigan for work. So it gave me an opportunity to do different things and to learn. So
how long did it take from the death to the first date?
The first date was about 1.5 years after.
Good for you.
Yeah, and
were there some people who tried to make you feel guilty that you shouldn't be doing this so soon, or you shouldn't be doing it at all?
Well, no. I mean, people wanted. I mean, my mother-in-law was like, "Go find somebody," and I'm going like, "What can I even think about doing?"
Ruth in the Bible.
yeah. And no, it was, my stepchildren, I think at the time were like, oh, okay. But soon after they lost their father, they also lost their mother. And so it was, but they also had their lives and stuff. And but no, I didn't, what I felt, I didn't really feel guilty. It was just trying to discover who I was going to be in the single mode. Because I went from being married to being a widow to being single.
No children?
No. And just the stepchildren. And
still close with them?
So it was a transition. What's that?
Still close with the stepchildren?
No, unfortunately. There are only circumstances. What's that?
I'm asking Debbie if she can ask another question.
Sure, yeah. I'm wondering, you've had some really big challenges in life, and you're coming through smiling with a glass overflowing, not even half full, but much better. So what do you think, what message can you give to caregivers?
So one of the things that I know to be true is that, for me, the pandemic was a rude awakening for me, because it was like, what do? You get up in the morning and you're staring at the walls. You can't do anything. You can't go anywhere. So I can only imagine when you're caregiving to someone, that's like what it is. You get up in the morning. This is what you see. This is what you're experiencing. You're feeling like closed in. It's almost like a little bit of a victim. Because why did this happen to me? Why am I doing this? What am I losing out on? But I think that one of the things that I think we can do is start seeing the good in it, or a different perspective of it, and being able to end up saying, what is this doing for me? What is my learning here? And then being able to help the people, who I am caregiving for along the path. And, part of this book, it's about life journeys. It's about things that happen to us. And it's that we can find the wisdom in it. So for the caregivers, it's like it taps into so much. It taps into who you really are. What's your purpose? What are your values? Who do you need to surround you and partner with to get the help? But also, what's so important is taking care of yourself. As a caregiver, you've got to take care of you before you're able to take care of the people that are really relying on you. So that's like one of the messages I think that I'd like to share is, what are you doing good for yourself today and every day to be able to give you the strength to be able to help the people around you and ask for help when you need it.
When someone said, oh, now you're a widow, and you asking, well, what is that? Same thing happened to me when they said my wife had a stroke in 1996. Oh, well, you're a caregiver now. I mean, that was.
Yes.
But, my life changed. It's part of her died, and we were grieving that. And she's still here, and she still has a similar personality, but it's different. It's like I have a different wife, and she can do different things than the first wife, and she can't do things that the first wife could do, and so it was quite an adjustment. And I could have been a victim, you could have been a victim, but we're different people. We're made up of different things. What do you say to the caregivers who struggle with this, who just can't? I had a caregiver who told me when their spouse died, he says, I will never stop grieving them. I will never get over this. I mean, that's the everyone grieves in their own time. Don't say after 5 years that I should get on and move on, and because this one having trouble moving on. And I mean, even in the Bible, it says that you have a certain time of mourning, and then you take off your mourning clothes and move on with your life. Some people really struggle with that. Any advice for them?
So one of the things that I know to be true is that we need to experience the emotions that we're in. Because if we don't experience that grief, that mourning, that even for the moment being that victim, we need to experience it, because from there we can start moving forward on it. And I always say to people, I can't imagine what you're going through. And they'll say to me, Barb, I can't imagine what you went through. No, we can't. But what we can do is feel that. Get the help that you need. Yes. Did I have a therapist? Yes. Did I need to process it? Yes. Did I feel it was my fault? Yes. But I knew that there was more for me to do. And I knew that I needed to deal with it and then move on. Because I truly, truly, truly believe every single thing that happens in our life is a thread in our life. Right. And it really, it makes us who we are. And if it were not for the circumstances that had come into our life, I would not, potentially have been cherishing, what we had, and being able to really pivot so that I could understand what it's really like to be in the moment and experience, so that I have those memories. Those will not be taken away from me. Yeah. And knowing that there is another chapter. Frank is, 17 years older than me. If he were to die, I don't know what I'll do. But I also know I will move on. I will grieve him. I will be there in the grief. I will live it. But then I will also gather around the people that need to help me to take care of me to move on, because life is too short and it's too precious. Absolutely. It really is.
So let's talk about your book, why you wrote it, what's in it, what people will get out of it. And, I assume that's your legacy.
Yeah. So one of the things that I did as, you start working as a coach, a speaker trainer, and one of the things you need to do is write blogs and write posts and get yourself out there so you can be seen. And so from my posts, because it's all about life lessons, that's what I do. I mean, I work with corporations and I also work with individuals, but it's about moving people forward in some way. So what I did was started going through all my blogs, my posts, and started creating stories and put it through the eyes of my Great Danes. Because when I was in junior high on Long Island, I got exposed to the first Great Dane. And, this dog was sitting on the couch with its front paws on the ground. And I'm going, oh my gosh, this thing is so large. But it was the sweetest animal. And from then, that's when I fell in love. And then later on, I ended up, as I was just trying to decide where I was going to get my MBA, I was doing some traveling, and I ran into this guy that had this portfolio, and he had shown me, he says, he was going for some bigwig job, and he goes, but let me tell you my pride and joy. And he opened up the portfolio, and there was a Harlequin Great Dane sitting on Santa's lap. And I knew someday I was going to have a Harlequin Great Dane. And throughout my life, we've always rescued dogs because I believe that there's a lot to rescue out there. But one Sunday there was in the paper a 1-year-old female, housebroken, trained Harlequin up for adoption. And I said to Frank, I'm going to go and check her out. And that was our first. Brought her home.
He was agreeing to that, huh?
What's that?
He agreed to that, huh?
Oh yeah, he agreed. Well, because again, we always rescue these animals and stuff.
But that's a big animal.
That was a big animal, and he knew that was a dream. So, then I don't know, 3 years later, we got Bo as a puppy. And then when Jazz passed away, we got another Harlequin. And when Bo passed away, we got a blue Zeus. But one of the things that I really, truly believe is that these dogs live large. These dogs allow us to really, they feel what they want to feel. When they're hungry, they're going to let you know. When they want to go out, they want to let you know.
Right.
What if we were to live large like that? They walk into the room, their presence is there. And it is just this amazing being. And so what I did was I took these stories and because each Great Dane is just like a person, they have their own personalities, and really stuck the stories to the Great Danes and created a little bit of a story, a picture, an illustration, and then a wisdom statement. What's happening through me for this wisdom that I can share. And it just came out in Kindle version March 20th, and then paperback last month. And now we got it hardback. And I'm trying to get the word out about Drool to so many people, because life is worth drooling over. And it's really worth anticipating what's going to happen around the corner.
That's great. I can't believe how fast our time has gone today. Thanks so much for coming on the show. How can listeners reach you or get your book or find out more about you?
Sure, they can go to barbstone.me, and there's a tag there, a tab that says Drool, and you can find out about me. And also my TEDx talk is there, but and a lot of other information. But you can learn about Drool, because life is to be drooled about.
Debbie, how can people reach you? Find out what you do.
Well, you can go to mayordebbie.com just to find out a bit more, read some podcasts, or watch some podcasts, read some blogs. And if you go to Amazon, you'll find my series Integrity 101, and you'll see the stories of how it was to be a mayor.
Great. And remember, all our live shows become recorded pod and videocasts on your favorite platform. My best-selling book, It's Your Life Too, How to Survive and Thrive as a Caregiver, is available wherever books are sold. And also my free membership website, caregiverdave.com, and on Facebook, Caregiver Dave. If you click the like or follow button, whatever platform you're on, helps Google reach even more caregivers. So again, a big thank you, guys. And a thank you to all my listeners out there all over the world tuning in every Wednesday, making us the #1 caregiver podcast on the internet. Until next week, same time, same channel. May God richly bless you all. Bye-bye.
Sometimes it feels like the sun will never rise, like the birds will never sing.